Welcome to the Electric Playground. E3 has begun, and we've got new details on Metal Gear Solid 5 in the rundown.
Plus, one of the big games at E3 this week is Battleborn, and we've got a new look.
And then we get our hands on the inside-out playsets for Disney Infinity. Also coming up, we take the new racing game Project Cars out for a test drive. I've got Kung Fury in my pocket and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. War never changes, but the rundown is fresh every day. One of the biggest games at E3 this year is Metal Gear Solid 5, but there might be something to worry about. According to a European PlayStation Store pre-order page, MGS5 will feature in-game microtransactions. If the page is accurate, it means you'll be able to buy items without actually earning them by playing the game the old-fashioned way. We're still waiting for more details on exactly how much you'll be able to buy, but either way, this is sure to be a big disappointment for hardcore gamers. Microtransactions have been creeping into other big AAA games following their success in the mobile marketplace. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain will sneak out this September. Let's take a break from the E3 madness and talk about superheroes, my next favorite subject. The next season of Daredevil is going to be even more punishing than the first. Marvel has announced that The Walking Dead star Jon Bernthal will join the cast of the next season as Frank Castle, a deadly vigilante better known as the Punisher. This will be the character's first appearance in the shared Marvel Cinematic Universe, and given how violent the first season was, it seems like he'll fit right into the show. The second season of Daredevil will hit Netflix next year. Marvel is working on 3 additional shows for the streaming service, all of which will take place on the mean streets of Hell's Kitchen.
You really should be thanking the nut in the mask.
My pal Marissa is here now to help me talk about these very big developments. And in all of this huge E3 madness, Marvel is expanding their universe a little bit with Jon Bernthal. What do you think about him as the Punisher?
I loved him in The Walking Dead.
He was great,
Absolutely loved him in The Walking Dead.
And certainly that's a character that is very gray, and he is hunted by other superheroes a lot. Good casting, but I think Thomas Jane was terrific as the film version of the Punisher, even if the movie wasn't that great. He was very good.
That's the problem.
And so now Jon Bernthal's kind of in that shadow, but I think they've done such a great job with Daredevil, and they've sort of created this awesome stage for a hero like that.
Yeah.
It could be great. I think it could be great.
I think it's going to be great.
Yes.
I believe this guy. I believe he'll make an amazing Punisher.
Well, he commits to his roles. He's always fun to watch in whatever he is in.
Absolutely.
All right, now the other big news is Metal Gear Solid 5. Is it going to have microtransactions? Can't confirm that right now.
No, this is all speculation.
But it wouldn't be that surprising, you know, given that this is a very expensive game.
I'm not surprised with this news at all.
And certainly Konami has been pretty upfront about the fact that they have to look at their bottom line, and they've got to think about their finances, and their mobile stuff is doing well, and there's lots of microtransaction there.
What I just did there, but it was an eye roll.
Yes.
When you said the bottom line, I understand that, I get it, but as a consumer, it's just I've had enough of these things.
Yeah.
I hate the whole idea of pay to win, and if this is taking place in this game, I'm going to be very upset.
It will tarnish the experience,
because
just like it did with Assassin's Creed Unity, for sure.
Because I feel like with the Metal Gear franchise that these games are a pure video game experience.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to come in and now taint the whole thing.
Yeah, you shouldn't ever, I think, feel like you sit down or you experience something within the game that's asking for a handout, you know? Like maybe in the menu you can choose to purchase new downloadable content, but if you're actually in the adventure, in the middle of a game, it feels a little weird to have the game ask you for more money.
You know how much I hate that.
I know, and it's going to be very strange, and maybe that's part of the reasoning, you know, is that's happening with the rift between Kojima and Konami right now. I mean, maybe it's this new sort of focus on financials.
I hate the microtransactions.
I know.
But Vic, we've got to move on now, because Gearbox, they have a new one. It's called Battleborn, and you got to take a look.
I did. Gearbox makes great games, and their next game, which also may be great, is called Battleborn. Tell us the whole idea behind this title, because it's not something that we've played before from you guys. This is a little bit different, so tell us a little bit about this one.
So the idea behind Battleborn is that we know that stars have a lifespan, and in our universe, in the universe that Battleborn is set in, all of the stars but one have disappeared at the hands of a mysterious force. So Q are Battleborn. They have to go and rally to protect the last star, Solus. And despite being from different backgrounds, different factions, they're going to all come together and they're going to try to fight this threat.
On second thought, I'd rather just kill you now.
When I play the game and look through the character roster, it feels like something like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or something like that. It looks like these guys are about to get into a head-to-head type of fighting experience, but it's a first-person shooter with a tremendous amount of different types of mechanics. Take us into that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's actually really funny that you mentioned fighting games because Gearbox were inspired by all sorts of different things. Well, one of the things we're really inspired by is fighting games. So we've taken a bunch of inspiration from that. You probably see it in some of our character ultimates. And then we've also taken inspiration from things like Western CG and then combining that with Japanese anime. So getting that polish with that bright graphic action that you can get out of anime.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Tell us the design philosophy. What were you guys aiming for with the look and feel of the game?
So the look and feel of the game is that mashup, almost Pixar meets anime. And then above everything else, honestly, we want it to look cool. So it's all about getting these really cool characters and folding in things that we love and working with that. So our inspirations can range from not only those different game genres that I mentioned earlier, but also looking at movies, looking at art books from other things, looking at old toys. The crane arm that you saw in our demo is inspired by an old 80s robot arm. We recently had a new art book come into the office, He-Man. I think we spent hours looking over it. It's a mashup of everything that our art team loves, getting to add that in and fold that into our universe.
You have a really strong lineage here with Borderlands. It's such an incredible property. How do you distance from that? How do you create space from Borderlands? And then my next question, as a fan of Borderlands, are there any Borderlands characters in Battleborn?
We love Borderlands, and me personally, I'm also a huge Borderlands fan. It's part of our lineage, and we have a really soft spot for that. But Battleborn is very much its own unique thing. If you put them side to side next to each other, they're both stylish games, but they're stylish in their own flavor. Whereas with Borderlands, you get that beautiful inking on everything. With Battleborn, we get really beautiful, stylized, almost clean approach to all of the characters, and that graphic feature that we're getting is, I think, what sets them apart. And then from like a design side, in Borderlands, we got to level up the character over a long amount of time. In Battleborn, we get a very fast progression system. So through our Helix, you'll actually get to experience your character's full growth range over the course of a match. So that gives you a lot of replayability. You can try different things in the Helix.
That right there is a big computer.
On different playthroughs and really see some different results.
Battleborn looks very cool, and it's being shown off right now on the show floor at E3. We're there right now through Magic.
Yes, we are. We've got to take a break, and when we come back, Jose is checking out Inside Out in Disney Infinity.
Oh, airplane. We got an airplane, everybody.
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Dungeon Hunter 5, which you can play for free on iOS and Android right now. Very much like one of those classic 80s video games like Streets of Rage or something, except it's not.
Kung Fury.
I played this on iOS, but you can also get this on Steam and various other platforms. It's basically a two-button experience, and you tap on either side of the screen to take care of waves and waves of enemies that are coming at you. You've got, looks like nurses and robots and Nazis and ninjas, and they explode and are electrocuted in all kinds of really, really cool ways. I love the art style on this. It's a total throwback to the 80s, even with the rounded television screen and the insert coin and insert credit kind of pop-up things and the leaderboards up there, which seems impossibly high, because here is where the problems start to kick in. The control systems for this game are so simple, it doesn't really feel like it connects. And I discovered that when I played it on Steam with a controller, and I discovered that when I played it on iOS using either side of the touchscreen. It just doesn't feel satisfying enough. It looks like it should be very fun and fluid and fast, and you do take care of enemies and the combo does start to rise, but you start to get wiped out for things that you don't quite see and quite understand, because all that's happening is the enemies are coming from either side of the screen, and you're just punching in either direction to take care of them, and sometimes the screen gets really cluttered and you don't really see, you know, why a punch that you threw didn't connect and why you're all of a sudden on the ground in a heap. It's only a couple of bucks if you want to disable the ads, and it's free to try, so you might as well give it a shot. but I just wish the control was just a little bit more finessed and fun. I'm going to give Kung Fury for iOS a 6.5 out of 10.
Pockets are back that way. Now let's check in with our old friend Jose Hot Stuff Sanchez. He's got the latest on Disney Infinity's Inside Out playset.
Yeah, well, this one right in my wheelhouse, people.
Oh, because it explores the complex machinations that take place inside an intelligent young woman's brain?
No, because there's toys in this one.
Oh, classy.
So that's how you want to play it, old man? No dessert? Oh, sure. We'll eat our dinner right after you eat this.
Right. Here comes an airplane.
Oh, airplane. We got an airplane, everybody.
There are lots of cool things brewing inside the toy box that is Disney Infinity 3.0. One of them in particular is the Inside Out set. Tell me about what you guys are bringing with Inside Out to Disney Infinity.
All right, well, primarily we're bringing an entirely different type of gameplay than what we've seen in the toy box or in any other playset. We've now got 2D side-scrolling platforming as well as 3D isometric, as well as all 5 of the emotion characters that you see in the film. So it's something completely different for Infinity, and we're really excited about it.
Whoa!
Why did you guys feel that it was time to bring something like this, some new kind of gameplay elements to Disney Infinity with the Inside Out set?
Well, probably 2 reasons. First of all, the movie itself was very inspirational to us to do that. But secondly, we want to let players know that Infinity is a platform that's going to continue to grow and expand. This felt like the perfect property to come forward and say, look, this is a different type of gameplay that you won't see anywhere else in Infinity, and going forward you're going to see more and more of this sort of thing.
Talk to us about the emotions and how they're going to play differently within the playset.
Oh, sure. So each of the 5 emotions has a special ability as they go through Imagination Land trying to restore Riley's imagination back into good sense. So anger, he can run across floor lava, so he's immune to that. Sadness, she can stand on any cloud platforms and they don't fade away for her, whereas for the other emotions they do. Joy has kind of twinkle toes, she's light on her feet, so she can glide a long distance, very important in a platforming game. Fear, he is the fastest runner, so he's good to get through puzzles quickly and run across terrain fast. And Disgust gets a very high bounce off of some platform types, like clouds. That's really good to get up to high locations. The entire game from beginning to end can be played in a co-op mode. You can also compete too if you want to, see who picks up more balloons or that sort of thing. But we really wanted that to be core to what we're doing.
How is the gameplay itself going to be different than something that we've played within the other Disney playsets?
Mostly it's the style of gameplay. We've got 3 things that we're doing. We've got this cloud gameplay where you've got clouds that fade away. We've got this musical gameplay which was inspired by something that was left on the cutting room floor from the film, where you've got music tracks that you change with switches that then adjust platforms that move in time with the beats. So it's very puzzly and it's also very action-based. And then thirdly, we've got this gravity idea where you go upside down and you pass through gravity gates and you run on the underside of things. All happening in the imagination land of Riley, so it's all fantastic. And a few other surprises in there too as you go through.
What is it about these characters specifically that would make people want to play as them within the world of Disney Infinity?
In the playset, they have their special abilities, but then you can also bring any of them into the toy box. And in the toy box, they have abilities that are special or unique just for the toy box. They all have a wave of emotion so that they can build up this pent-up emotion like rage for anger and then kind of unleash it all at once.
The Disney 3.0 playset will be out this fall.
Up next, Vic and my old friend Marmar have a review of Project Cars after this.
That the evidence you lifted?
Yeah, I think it's from a diary. Rest of it was gone. All I can make out are Icarus, maybe.
I'm doing Mirror's Edge as a buried treasure, and you know what? I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if we've never mentioned this as a buried treasure before, because it's one of those forgotten gems, except it's not, because a new Mirror's Edge game is on the way, so that means this is the perfect time to re-experience or get acquainted with the first Mirror's Edge, which was quite innovative in its time. It was a first-person action game. There is some shooting in this thing, but for the most part, it was about parkouring your way around obstructions and this militant force that's out to get you. You play a courier with incredible skill named Faith, and it's such a cool looking game as well. This was really a game that stripped away a lot of the color of the world to kind of give you direction and guidance, and it just had this sleek, really fun, really great physicality to the game experience. And in fact, the only issues with the game are when it kind of tips back into the direction of being a shooter and competing with all of the more competent shooters that are out there. This is made by the DICE studio out of Stockholm. They delivered something truly special, and it's something that became a cult sensation, and it really led to what we're going to get now, which is a sequel and hopefully an even better distillation of the ideas and concepts that were presented in this game. It's still worth checking out, though. Mirror's Edge, the first one, buried treasure.
Another treasure unearthed by the Indiana Jones of old-timey video games. Now it's time for a new video game. It's Project Cars. This is from our old friends at Slightly Mad Studios. So, is it worth your precious time and money? Vic and Marissa have the answer.
Start your engines, Victor Lucas, because we've got a whole lot of racing simulation coming at the people right now.
Yep.
It is called Project Cars. This game was a Kickstarter, actually. A lot of people wanted this thing to happen. They threw a lot of money at this game, and I feel like they made it happen.
Yeah, and I think this was a game made of passion
Yeah.
for automobile racing.
Really is about the racing in its purest form, and what you can do here as a racer when you start your career, you can choose if you want to start from the very bottom and it's tier 8 or go all the way to tier 1. I made the mistake of going to tier 1 first and then working my way back to kart racing, which is a completely different game.
Start with kart racing.
Start with kart racing.
Unless you're like a super fan of simulations and you get this whole thing, this is a game that really, everything's open, which is cool. I like that idea. And it's really just about tuning it and the car on the track, but also the game, the way that you want to play the game.
Yeah.
And it's really all open for you to kind of explore and experiment and have fun with. And of course, you can race online against other people that are going to be way better than you at the beginning.
Of course. What's really cool, though, is that you have this community outside of the race. So when you look at your career, and I feel like this game is all about the career. Yes, there are quick races and all that, for sure.
You're talking about the single-player career mode?
I'm talking about the single-player career mode. I feel like it's so robust. You really feel like you're living in this world because you have people, like you have fans that notice you.
They did a great job with that, didn't they?
Yes, that you're getting, because you notice when people tweet at you, and especially the mean ones, you notice those ones too. And they always got me, every little tweet that I got on the side.
So I'm Team Batwing, I love you so much, you're awesome. It's really cool. And then you read emails and you get invites to join other teams. And then
when
there's
you start a new thing, you
there's
get
new races
contracts
that you unlock and stuff. Yeah, I guess not everything is open because you sort of get these little rewards and things like that. But in terms of where you start and what you get to play with and the cars and all that stuff, all of that stuff is unlocked. So you don't get this huge, 500-car Gran Turismo type roster, but the cars are expertly detailed. The graphics are beautiful in this game, whether you play it on the PC or the consoles. And the audio is unbelievable. I think this is the best car audio I've seen in any racing game. You really feel like you're in these vehicles, orally with the sound that's being delivered. But then the physicality of each car is incredible. You'll feel front-engine cars.
Good.
You'll feel the lickety-split kind of turning capabilities of the kart racing.
Kart racing is so hard.
It's hard, but
kart racing is so hard. But I love it because it really does make you feel like, you know what? You have to put work into this.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at anything in this game, you better work. And I love that you can start with that. It's also the visuals here. And I know that we've seen weather dynamics in games before and racing games before.
Right.
But when you jump into one of these cars and the rain is hitting the windshield, it really is beautiful.
It's pretty damn impressive.
It's so nice.
And the sense of peril and danger is always there, and the sense of speed. And that, it starts even with racing with these tiny little carts. You feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I take this, which is what you want. I think that what they did here was very smart. They don't have this beautiful glossy, user interface, and it's not like taking you past every car and like there's an orchestra playing.
Sure, no.
None of which is bad. I've liked that in previous types of racing games out there. But what they really focused on is that core game experience and giving you a lot of just value for the dollar in terms of what you're able to kind of play with right out of the gate, you know? It's really solid game.
I mean, that's the only thing I would take away from this game is the price of it. I know games are expensive now, Victor Lucas, but my God, like $70.
Yeah.
Ugh, I just feel like I better be investing a lot of my time in this game if I'm going to spend $70.
I wonder if people got it for less if they kickstarted. They probably
yeah,
did.
probably.
What are you giving Project Cars?
It gets an 8.
It gets an 8.5 for me. Great game.
Nice job, kids. Up next, a Twitter question gets crushed after the break.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It is now time for your favorite part of the show, to the Twitter question of the day. This one comes from God for Mayor.
Guess God 3 Mayor was taken?
Okay, good one. No, it doesn't work that time.
Okay.
He asked, are there any games that you find are a cure for insomnia? And he tweeted this at 4:20 a.m.
You poor person.
I know.
I've been there, yes.
Yeah.
Games stimulate your mind, so they will keep you up, and then they will make you very tired the next day. I'm speaking from a lot of experience because I've tried to play things at night.
Absolutely. There are games that are just completely boring that will put you to sleep as you, are just lying on the couch or if you're in bed. But I do think a game called Quell, I really like Quell, on my iPad, just playing at night. It's just so tranquil.
Sure.
It's puzzly, it's cute. It's a really nice go-to-sleep kind of game.
Monument Valley, I think, would be pretty good for that. Eco, maybe. I hate to sort of confess this, but driving games can put me to sleep if I'm really tired,
Okay, so then in real life you can't get behind the wheel because you might.
I mean,
fall
clearly you're
asleep.
showing something there, right? I'm also a terrible driver in games when I'm texting.
Oh, when you're texting, okay, yeah, don't do any of that. Terrible.
Remember to get caught up on all kinds of great EP stuff, including full episodes at epn.tv.
We got more coming for you in the next episode of EP Daily, including a look at the new Need for Speed game.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
Yeah, 5 Ways to Play is really a concept of thinking about what is the ultimate Need for Speed experience. As we talk about that in the office, we're like, it's going 150 miles per hour, sideways, into a corner with style, driving with your friends, chased by the cops in a highly modified car. So if you think about those 5 different elements put together, we have structured a narrative on those 5 different elements.
Made it! Awesome!